afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to First Lutheran and the final in the Lenten Luncheon series. I'm so glad you're here. I'm Pastor Jeff Johnson. We have I hope, delightful program, but it's the last program, and we have some folks to honor and a lot to get through. The first thing we want to ask you to do or make aware of on your tables is there's a survey on your tables about the Lenten Luncheon series, all the way from the kind of foods that are offered, the style of presentation, to the speakers and the series itself. We really need your feedback because it helps tweak the ones for next year in finding speakers and programs. And we want you to be here, obviously. Today, I'm the speaker because, unfortunately, Steve Domish, the former editor of the Brockton Enterprise, could not be with us. He got a job. So we're thrilled that he got a job. And so in desperation, I said to myself, what should we do? And this is what we came up with. So I used to be a music history professor. I taught music history for years, and part of what I taught was this very thing. So before we go on and we start our musical journey, let's say grace. The Lord be with you. Gracious God, thank you for today. Thank you for this glorious meal set in front of us. Bless the hands that made it, the hearts that prepared it, all the love that went into this space. We thank you so much for all good gifts, because all good gifts come from you. Bless as we go our ways today, as we enter Holy Week and Easter, and all the love that we will receive and the love that we will give. All this we ask in your name, that is holy. Amen. Amen. Okay, once again, you do have a survey. You don't have to do that immediately. It can be anonymous. You put your name on it. We don't care. We just need feedback. The second thing that I want to bring your attention to on another piece of paper, is a song sheet. Because if we're going to talk about musical theater, we're all going to sing. This is not listen to Pastor Jeff sing day. This is like a hymn sing. So we're all going to sing tunes that I hope we know, and I provided the words. And in the words of my first pastor, Doug Newton, when I was a child, when we would sing hymns at church, and we didn't sing it to his life, and he'd make us sing it again. And we would. Okay? So, I don't want to have to say, we need to sing that again. Because we need to have lots of enthusiasm around us. I'm going to walk you through American musical theater, and please, here's my disclaimer at the beginning. This is but a thumbnail of a thumbnail of a thumbnail sketch of American musical theater. There are composers not even mentioned, living composers who are not even on here. Most of the composers, unfortunately, are no longer with us. But we have some fabulous living composers, from Stephen Sondheim to Andrew Lloyd Webber, all those sorts of folks, and I'm sorry we couldn't get to those today. Anyway, what I would ask you to do is to sing along with us. I'm going to start first with I Got Rhythm, which is by George Gershwin and his brother Ira Gershwin. George was the composer, Ira was the lyricist. And it's from a musical called Girl Crazy. How many of you have seen the musical Girl Crazy? Really? I've got two hands that went up. Okay, and this is the most famous song from it, and I'm trying to draw a red thread about musical theater. Two people in this room have seen Girl Crazy. Nobody sees Girl Crazy anymore, because when American musical theater began, shall we say, in the teens, the 1910s, the 20s, even before then, it began really in vaudeville and in areas and arenas like Ziegfeld Follies. And so it was about big chorus acts with pretty chorus girls and beautiful costumes and a great tune. The plots of these things were largely bazooka bubblegum sorts of scripts. Completely unrememberable, something that it seemed like a 6-year-old wrote. And so and I'm not insulting it, but they were really based, and they featured a singer or a featured song. So Gershwin wrote this song, and he discovered a very famous singer who had the voice like a hurricane. Whose was that singer in the 1920s who had a voice like the hurricane? Ethel Merman, indeed. And this is the song that made her famous. She was a secretary, by the way, from Queens and Methodist. Okay? And this is who discovered her. George Gershwin discovered Ethel Merman. So, most of these songs have intros, meaning that set up the song. In an opera, you call it a recitative. So, but you've got a little intro to it that I'm going to sing, and then you're going to join me with the chorus. If it sounds good, we'll sing it twice. If it sounds bad, we'll sing it 3 times. All righty? But you got the words in front of you, and do anything you need to do with the genders. If it says, I got my man, if you need to sing, I've got my girl or gal, sing, I've got my gal. If you need to sing, I don't care. Whatever you want to do with that, do it. Okay? So, here we go. Okay, here we go. Me first. Days can be sunny with never a sigh. Don't need what money can buy. Birds in the trees sing their joyful of song. Why should we sing along? I'm sure all the day, happy with my life. How do I get that way? Look at what I've got. Get ready, get ready, get ready, and I got rhythm, I got music, I got my man, that's for anything more. I got daisies in green pastures, I got my man, that's for anything more. Oh, the trouble I don't mind it, you won't find it round my door. I got starlight, I got sweet dreams, I got my man, that's for anything more, that asks for anything more. All righty. Lynn Smith, we need to do that again. How did we do? All right. Are we warmed up now? Okay. So you sound like, I want to do it again because I want to hear the voice of the hurricane. So you're going to sing to me. You're going to sing to me. I'm not going to lead you so much, but you're going to sing to me. So here's the little intro. Here we go. And I got rhythm. Got what? I got music. I got my man, that's for anything more. I got daisies in green pastures. I got my man, that's for anything more. Oh, the trouble I don't mind it. You won't find it on my own. I got starlight, I got sweet dreams, I got my man, that's for anything more, that's for anything more. Give yourself a hand. Wonderful. Now, as I said before, musical theater in the United States, which is really an American phenomenon, began in what city?
Yeah.
Very much so. Does anybody know what part of New York? In Manhattan, I'll give you that much. Do anybody know? No. Lower. No, not Harlem. You're going up. Harlem is uptown. Queens. Oh, Manhattan. Okay, alrighty. Lower East Side. Exactly, Lower East Village, because that is where the Jewish community was. And everything in American musical theater is in the Jewish community. Because it's an extension of that. All the great composers of musical theater, the Gershwins, Rodgers and Hammerstein, Rodgers and Hart, Lerner and Lowe, all of them were Jewish. Okay? And so, and obviously part of that community went to Hollywood and created the film industry too. So it is very much a part of that, and that's a different conversation. Now, I'm going to go on. So as things became more successful, Chris Newman, yes, we moved uptown. Okay, and you moved up to Broadway. Okay, that kind of made you. But anyway, even from the 18th century, everything started in downtown Manhattan. When you arrived, you started there, and as you became more prosperous when you moved uptown. Okay, so not so much anymore, but anyway. Next song, one of my favorites, Bewitched, Bothered, and Bewildered, from a Rodgers and Hart. Richard Rodgers, as in Rodgers and Hammerstein, but Richard Rodgers and Lorenz Hart. They did many musicals together, Babes in Arms, things from the 20s, and then they dissolved because the relationship with Hart was not good, actually. But this is one of my favorite songs of all time. It's from Pal Joey. And then we see the musical, in American musical theater, changing. Gene Kelly made this very famous. And it's about the underworld. It's a comedy, drama, a dramedy in a way. But these are not likable people in this musical. And occasionally you see it revived. This is probably the most famous song from it. It actually has about 8 verses. And it's kind of, yes, sexy. Okay? And it's really, I encourage you to see Pal Joey sometime. There is a film version. I think it is with Gene Kelly and Kim Novak. But this is the most memorable song. I'll do the intro. You get to join me in a minute. Song, and we've heard so many people cover it through the years, Frank Sinatra, you name it. I mean, that's what we usually associate it with. Prior to the 1960s, the songs that you're singing were really the top 40 and what people identified as truly popular music. And then this event happened in the 50s and the 60s. Does anybody know what musical movement happened in the 50s and 60s? They changed a little bit. Rock and roll. Rock and roll. So, and the characters, or the performers that really changed it were obviously Elvis Presley, okay, and in the 1960s, an invasion. The Beatles changed that completely. They became the top 40, okay? And so this was sort of the music of the baby boomers' parents. But we, of course, because of its classical nature and its enduring nature, we kept it, and it sings and it resounds with our grandchildren today. And so it's very meaningful. I used to teach young people theater skills and theatrics and things like that. I kind of professored that. But it was always amazing to me. They knew the whole rep, pretty much, of what we consider the canon of a musical theater.
Okay, next, we switch countries, and we have a musical that's set in London. On the Street Where You Live is from, obviously, My Fair Lady, which is being revived on Broadway right now. I love this musical because it's so extraordinarily beautiful, and once again, these composers are American, setting it in a British setting. We all know, I hope we know, that it's based on the George Bernard Shaw play Pygmalion. Eliza Doolittle, Henry Higgins, and he recreates her. You know, it's an extraordinary thing. How many of you have ever seen Pygmalion, the play, the straight play? I have. It is an extraordinary play, and it was it made George Bernard Shaw famous in his own lifetime. And then, of course, Lerner and Loewe come along in the 1950s, created a musical version of it. And who was Eliza Doolittle, the original Eliza Doolittle?
Aubrey Hepburn.
Julie Andrews. That's what made her famous. The stage role. Do not confuse film. Audrey Hepburn never sang a note that you heard on that movie. That was Marty Nixon who sang that. Okay? And that was until the 60s. A very beautiful Eliza Doolittle, but she was not the original Eliza. But who was always the same Henry Higgins? Who knows that? Who was that?
Rex Harrison.
Rex Harrison. Always was the same Henry Higgins, both in the film and on stage. So that's what made Julie Andrews very famous. She was sort of a girl from the London outskirts, I believe, and so that's what made it for her. This song is about in the middle of the musical where Eliza's been reformed. She goes to Ascot Downs, the races, all dressed up, kind of makes a fool of herself, if you remember. But she meets Freddie Einsford Hill, who falls in love with her because of her strange language and the language of slang. And he was just enamored of her, and so he falls in love with her. He tries to pursue her, even though she doesn't want to pursue him. So, I think you know the tune, so please help me sing it. There is no introduction here, no vocal one, so we all start together. Here we go. I have often walked down the street before. I will wait until I see my feet before. I have lost that light, several stories high, going out on the street where you live. I live by the trees in the heart of town, and you hear a together. This was a special request song today. It is from the musical Oliver, which is written by Lionel Hart, who could not read one note of music. He created this entire musical out of his ear. It was premiered in the 60s and on the London stage, and then came to New York, and then obviously a film that won the Best Picture in 1968. It has incredibly memorable tunes. It's all based on what novel by Charles Dickens? Oliver Twist, exactly, which made Dickens famous in a household name. And the central character of that being Oliver. This is set when Oliver's at the horrible beetle school and he begs for food. We all know that scene. Could I have some more? Lisa. So that, but at this moment, appropriately before we do that, I would like to honor all the people, the wonderful women who have made our lunches so wonderful this season. They're seated largely at this table, but throughout the room, so let's give them a big hand. And we have floral arrangements, ladies, for each and every one of you. Wow. And made by Nina Sousa. So, okay, Lois. Pam. They're identical. Okay. You have one? Does everyone have one? Okay, you got it.
Alice and Gina down
You see Lynn, you see Dawn Capel. Anybody else out there? Okay, so many thanks to the wonderful crew this season who made that happen. We have extras if needed. Thank you, ladies, so much for your tireless dedication. Many of them show up on Thursday to prep, and they're here most of the morning on Fridays, getting ready for us. Okay, let's take a look at food, glorious food. I spaced it out purposely because it's full of wonky words. So food, glorious food, hot sausage and mustard, we're in the mood. Cold jelly and custard, peas, pudding, and saveloys. What next is the question? Rich gentlemen, habit boys, indigestion, food, glorious food. Turn the page. We're anxious to try it. 3 banquets a day, our favorite diet. Just picture a great big steak. Fried, roasted, or stewed. That's what I wanted, was a stewed steak. Oh, food, wonderful food, marvelous food, glorious food. So, this is dedicated to you, ladies. There is a little introduction. This is Dawn Capel's favorite musical. And so I'm going to sing the introduction for her. I have never had to sing anything like this in my life because I've never gone without eating. So, is it worth the waiting for? If we live till 84, all we ever get is gruel. Every day we say a prayer. Will they change the bill up there? Still we get the same old rule. There's not a crust, not a crumb we can find. Can we beg? Can we borrow your cage? But there's nothing to stop us from getting a thrill when we all close our eyes and imagine. Get ready! Food, glorious food, food, cold jelly and custard, peas, pudding, and sour boys. Thank you, ladies. Okay, going ahead. We're going to dwell the last 3 pieces in Rodgers and Hammerstein, the 2 most identifiable team of all American musical writing. And the show that made them famous, obviously, in 1942, yes, I believe it's 42, Oklahoma, which is nothing like it before. It was a celebration, one, of Oklahoma becoming a state. It's set in 1906, but it embraces all sorts of things. How many of you have seen Oklahoma? The stage, on the stage. Very different, okay? Very, and that counts, okay? For one thing, there's a dream sequence, a dream ballet that Agnes DeMille originally choreographed. It made very many people famous, including my favorite Ado Annie of all time, Celeste Holm. That's what made Celeste Holm famous, is that role. It played for 10 years on Broadway. So, and it's being revived this year alone on Broadway again. So, and everybody loves it because it's so identifiably American. So it has the things that we think of as musicals, great choruses, things that we can do, dance numbers, and it also has a ballet. So it has really embraces the traditions of European opera or the ballet of opera. So it has this classical nature to it. It's certainly not insipid or without depth. And it speaks to some very dark things. There's a murderer in it, if you remember. So it's just not light fare. We've come a long way, shall we say, from Girl Crazy, where it's just about costumes and pretty girls and singing a cool song. This is much more. And we're going to sing 2 songs from it, and we have 1 closer. So I want to make sure we're going to practice a couple of things. We all know "Oh, What a Beautiful Morning," sung by Curly. It's the first song in the whole thing. And then we're going to sing Oklahoma, the ending chorus, and we're going to sing it twice. We're just going to do the big concert ending, O-K-L-O-K-H-O-M-A, Oklahoma. Can everyone say "Yow" for me? Yeah! Like you're doing your hat that way. So I expect you to hear the "Yow." So we're going to do that twice. So here we go, 2 from Oklahoma. And I can find them, and so, my goal is to make sure you folks get to see Oklahoma on the stage. So everyone needs to see Oklahoma on the stage. It's an amazing, amazing song. Okay. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Here we go. Here we go. There's a bright
Last ending. And we say, yay, give yourselves a hand.
Okay, and before our last one, it's sort of a postal. Some quick announcements. Next week is Holy Week. We begin with Palm Sunday here, 7:45, 9. We have a Passover supper or Seder Monday, Thursday service. It's in this room on Thursday of next week. Friday is at 7 p.m. upstairs, Good Friday. Easter Sunday, 7:45 and 9 a.m. The following week, the second Sunday of Easter, April 28th, Bishop Michael Curry, the Right Reverend Michael Curry, presiding bishop of the Episcopal Church, as well as our own bishop, Jim Hazelwood, will be here. Once again, Bishop Curry is the man you saw preach the royal wedding sermon last year at Windsor Castle. He will be here that morning, so please join us if you want to. Easter egg hunt. 20th Saturday in the Fruit Center, okay? And it's a community Easter egg hunt. So if you've got people who need, kids who need to do that, please bring them here. And finally, the last song we're going to sing today is from Carousel, which is actually my favorite R&H musical. And I know I love King and I love Cinderella, and I like Sound of Music. I did 16 performances of Sound of Music about 10 years ago. And I love Oklahoma and just South. They're all wonderful. But this to me is their masterpiece. And this is their second musical. I saw it in Broadway 2 years ago because they revived it, and largely because the woman who played Nettie was the great Renee Fleming, who was the great, probably America's most beloved opera singer, is Renee Fleming, and she played this musical theater role. This song has become hymn-like for a lot of people. Most of the people associate it with the Jerry Lewis telethon, but I'm taking it out of Mr. Lewis's hands for today, because how it was really intended, and in the context of that musical, which is set on the coast of Maine in the 19th century, really was a post-war tribute, or a post-war song of hope. It was written in 1945, and it was written really, Rogers and Hammerstein wrote it for the wives and the loved ones who sent their sons and their husbands and their sweethearts to Europe or the Japanese theater for war, not knowing that they would come back. So Carousel is very full of hope and expectation, even though it is incredibly dark. The main character commits suicide. Yes, that's how dark Carousel is. All of these musicals are very dark. South Pacific deals with racism. Sound of Music deals with Nazis. Okay, I can go on and on and on. Oklahoma has a murder. Okay, so don't get confused with the really sugar-coated songs. Anyway, I do love this song for a lot of reasons, and today especially I'd like to dedicate it to the memory of Jim Benson, because this is the day of we say in the church that Jim entered the household of God and the church triumphant. So we want to dedicate it to the former administrator here. I'll sing it through the first time if you don't mind, because I want you to sing it, but I want us to get in the mood for it. It really is a postlude, and after we're done, we're finished, and thank you for coming this year. Thank the ladies once again, and I hope you have a blessed Holy Week at Easter. When the old Thank you. Thanks for coming. You're more than welcome. I think we have seconds. We're not kicking anybody out, so please stick around and eat. We have stuff left, I presume. Gina, an hour. It's okay. Yes, ma'am. Yeah.